Hi, very good evening to all of you. Today, we are going to see this particular task, which is highlighted in yellow, that we have the question as the topic is traffic congestion in relation to the increasing number of car owners. How true do you think this statement is? And measures taken by government to discourage people from using cars. So the topic has two parts. It's argued, some people think that the increasing number of cars has a direct relationship, with the traffic congestion in cities. And they have said in the past 30 years, which is something we have to address rapidly over the past 30 years. So we have, since the launch of the first car, we had the number of cars increasing day by day, year by year. But we have to see that the number of car ownership increased substantially over the past 30 years, and that is a fact. Because of this fact, that many cities in the world are now one big traffic jam. How true do you think this statement is? So in this particular essay, we have to say that it was not a gradual increase of the number of cars. We have seen a rapid increase in the number of cars over the past 30 years, I mean the past 3 decades. And this is seen worldwide. You have a lot of car manufacturing companies prospering across the world. And this may be the reason, they are telling this is the reason for urban traffic congestion. How true do you think this statement is? Is it true? Or if it is true, how true it is? To what extent? To what extent do you think the statement is correct? And what are the solutions governments they can take to discourage people from using their cars? So these two-part questions. We have to see the introduction here. The first part, we have the introduction. Let's go with the introduction here. It's argued that an increasing number of car owners have made many urban centers to bottleneck congestion. An increasing number of car owners have made many urban centers to bottleneck congestion. We have to say past 30 years or not is the question here, because you know that increasing number of car owners is not actually the issue here. Over the past 30 years, the substantial increase of car owners is the question here. So this is something which we have to look into seriously. So it is argued so that the part of the question should not be misplaced or misunderstood. So I need to understand what exactly the question. There is a topic, the past 30 years. So it's not a question that an increasing number of car owners or not. Over the past 30 years, there was a notable increase in the number of car owners. So I definitely have to include that in the introduction. So it is argued that an increasing number of car owners over the past 3 decades have made the urban centers to, I can say, have yeah, I can go ahead with that, have made many urban centers to bottleneck congestion. So urban centers, it means cities, many urban centers. So it means many cities. I just replace the word. Bottleneck congestion, that's one big traffic jam. It was in inverted commas. So that's what the same thing we have meant there. So one thing we added here in the introduction is over the past 3 decades or the past 30 years. And one more thing is missing, that is rapidly. This is another word which we need to include in the introduction. It is argued that it's a over the past 3 decades have made the urban centers. Okay, so this is also added there, rapidly over the past 30 years. So we have added that things in the introduction. Although other major reasons are there, this is a key issue. However, it appears to be a Herculean challenge for governments to address this crisis effectively in near future. We have 3 sentences here, and these 3 sentences, we have around 55 words, and this is something a problematic issue. I need to make my introduction as brief as I can. At the same time, I need to say what I am going to tell in the essay. So what I'm going to tell in the essay is to be said in the introduction, the topic as well as your answer, it is to be there. But you know that if you are writing 250 words, if you are writing 55 words in the introduction and around 25 words in the conclusion, so I'm writing around 80 words already has passed. Now I have very little word count to write in the explanation part. So this is a question. I need to make these 3 sentences little more trimmed so that it looks attractive without changing the meaning. I'm not doing it right now, but I am just going to inform you that this is a matter. I have written 3 sentences, 3 long sentences. I need to bring this word count under 50 somewhere, definitely under 50. At least 5 to 6 words I need to cut down from this introduction. So an ideal introduction, the word count will be somewhere around 30 to 40. So please, if you are writing more than 40 words in the introduction, you have less vocabulary to be written in the body paragraphs. Your essay will be going, the word count will be going higher than that you expect. So this is something which has to be very serious. Now, we have written 2 body paragraphs here. The first body paragraph is about the problem, and the second body paragraph is about the solution. And if you see to the first paragraph, that's where we have addressed the issue. We have said that this is not the only problem. A rapid increase of car ownership in the past 30 years It's not just a problem. There are a range of problems there. We have improper traffic systems, lax punishments. We have a lot of poor public transport system. We have a lot of problems there. And this is also a significant reason. And this is because the popularity of cars in cities is much higher than any other vehicle. Now, the cars are one of the most preferred vehicles in the roads. It has transformed itself. We have a lot of modifications which increase the comfort, which increase the convenience of the user, the car user. We are not using the traditional cars where we had less comfort. We have cars which we can use as smooth as an airplane. In such a situation, most people will look for comfort and most people would go for this convenience. And this, in such a situation, an increasing in the sales of cars is definitely an alarming issue. So even though we have a lot of issues which are attributing factors for traffic congestion in cities, we need to understand that increase in the car ownership is also one of the key issue there. So it falls in the range of key issues which attributes to traffic congestion, along with lax punishments, along with improper traffic system, along with narrow roads, along with poor public transportation system. So this is what we have discussed in the first particular paragraph. When we look into the second particular paragraph, we have to see, we have understood that cars are popular. It's hard to suggest a feasible way to discourage people. Having understood that this is the situation we have discussed in the previous paragraph, we have comfort and we have convenience and any other vehicle in the road. So this is the reason. And this, if you understand this as a fact, it's not possible for the governments to tackle this issue easily. Governments have already taken multiple steps to tackle the issue. Like if I need to discourage people from buying new cars, I need to increase the tax. I need to increase the insurance. I need to increase the cost of the fuel. I need to encourage people to use other public transport. I mean, to make it convenient for the users. Or other measures have been taken for the past 20 years, I think so, when we have recognized that this has become a great problem. Many of the state governments have implemented multiple issues like that even number cars, odd number cars should be in street in one day. If you go ahead with odd number cars registration, the second day you go with the even number cars. Many of the steps are there already, they have taken, but still we have it has not shown significant positive impacts. Oh, this is the reality. But you have to understand that a strong and determined action. Now that we have to understand, the car companies are corporates. Governments are getting a large amount of money as tax. And this is a great income from the corporate companies, from the government. So the car, if a car is sold, you get the tax. The government get the tax, you get the insurance, you get the other registration taxes. So if I reduce, if I am telling that a car company should reduce the number of cars, then it will affect the revenue of the government. Many of the governments have the problem. See, if, for example, I'm telling a big multinational car company that you are not allowed to sell this many cars in my country, I'm losing my revenue. Even though they are getting their profit, I am losing my revenue. I'm getting import taxes. All these things are there. So we have to consider a lot. The governments have to consider a lot here. They have to think twice. But I think a strong and determined government in future, respective governments can bring out a solution for this thing. They can discourage people from buying new cars. And we will be finding a solution in future. We have we have concluded the paragraph with an optimistic statement. Now, when we go ahead with the conclusion, it is to be understood that increasing number of cars is not just a factor which causes traffic congestion in cities. We have said in the introduction, we need to understand that unlike other effective measures to tackle traffic jam, you can improve the traffic system. And if you are improving the traffic system, you can definitely find an impact, a positive impact. So this is not the way. Unlike that way, discouraging the use of cars is not easily practical. So if I am to decrease traffic congestion, I can broaden the ways. I can construct expressways. I can construct bypasses. I can construct subways. So I have a lot of possible practical solutions from the part of the government. But it's not easy as those measures. It's discouraging car usage is not as easy as those measures. So if a state has enough money, enough infrastructure, they can go ahead with metro rails, monorails, they can go with subways, they can go with tubes, they can go with some other effective transport system from moving from one part of the city to another. But discouraging the use of cars is not that much easy. However, it can be made possible in some time in future. This is possible in some time in future. Definitely, we can say that this is possible in some time in future. And this is what the conclusion is. The conclusion is also optimistic. But we have to understand this is not as easy as other measures by the state to tackle the issue of congestion. And that's the end of the explanation here for this particular essay. Thank you.